in hiring the most qualified individuals regardless of other conditions.
I wasn't aware that that was a priority of the chamber, and I'm not sure, Janice, if it's speaking about transparency in hiring county employees or just hiring transparency in hiring employees in general. Could you be more specific?
I can't.
Okay. Well, then I'll take this where I'd like to.
I can't. I'm on the board
Go
of the
ahead.
chamber. It's general.
It's general, okay, it's not just the county. I've been attending the working sessions, most of the working sessions of the county commissioners since the primary, even before that. And a lot of personnel issues do come up, and I am really impressed with the quality of the candidates that we have, but actually transparency is something that I would like to see improved in a number of places within our county. One of them, I'm not sure, I haven't been through the process yet, but we are going to hire we're going to hire a new county clerk. We've got a new solicitor to hire. There's always change in government. I'd like to see more jobs. I'd like to see transparency throughout our region and our county. But in terms of our county employees, I would work to make sure that the process is as open as possible so that we always get the best candidate. Thank you.
So I'm understanding the question is having to do with polarization in general, politically and culturally. And this is obviously affecting our whole country, and it's scary sometimes. You don't know how far people will go. As far as I'm concerned locally, in terms of the county, I would try to use my relationships. I've got lots and lots of relationships with all kinds of people. I'm not interested in fighting. I'm interested in getting together and trying to work things out together. That's always been my approach. It will continue to be my approach. As a member of the political minority, you know, it particularly is incumbent on me to reach out, try to see who I can work with, try to work with whoever comes to the table. I echo Stacy's comments about hiring for the counties, but in a larger sense, I think that we have a responsibility to set an example, and I'll continue to do that.
Polarization was actually one of the four main points of feedback that the chamber got in their survey that they sent out at the time. And increasingly, polarization has quite frankly been an issue that we've all talked about. But when it comes to the county level, we've been so fortunate that the previous boards have really worked together. It didn't matter if you were a Republican or a Democrat or really what your view was in that case. They worked together as a team. And I think that's what you're going to want out of three people up here as well. I don't see anybody up here who would turn somebody down simply because they weren't of the right party, or to disparage somebody who came to a public meeting because they thought they were of a different party. Okay, we're all part of the same community here, and that's really what we have to remember.
The next question is a lead question. Is there a need for access to public transportation beyond that provided by rapid transit for Union County residents? And if so, what would you suggest? And Ms. Richards, we will start with you.
That's a very good question. And I think it's becoming more and more important for us. As I've been meeting with organizations and been involved with boards of social service organizations, without question, access to transportation really does hinder a large part of our population. And I know that there have been efforts within this county and region to be able to improve upon that. I think there's some good ideas for some service, particularly geared to being able to get people to doctors, to their jobs, a stationary circuit. But I think that that's one of the priorities that we should continue to focus on as county commissioners and as members of the community, to make sure that we are providing the best opportunities, access to the best opportunities for even those of us who don't own our own automobile.
So the obvious immediate problem is cost. You know, there aren't that many people who live in Union County. Our tax base is not that great. Setting a standard daily bus route is an expensive proposition, and even having more custom delivery kinds of rapid transit things. Still, there are significant costs associated with it. I will say, my upstairs neighbor, unfortunately, had a serious illness and was dependent on rapid transit for the last several months to get to and from her appointments. And I was very impressed with them. I helped a few times to move her things on and off the buses. And the drivers were compassionate and professional and patient. And I think I would start with building on what we've got.
Well, the rural communities such as Union County, it does get quite costly, as Trey said, to be able to provide public transportation. And Rapid Transit, from my understanding, does a really fantastic job in their area of service. Now, what we have to also look at, in my opinion, is, what are the other private solutions that are out there, okay? If this was really economically feasible, then perhaps a business could step up to the plate and, take on part of this deal. However, also, there's lots of churches, there's lots of nonprofits, there's lots of groups out there that are willing to help those in need. And I really think that maybe part of our issue is simply that the people who are in need aren't being connected with the people who can help. It's not always a government solution that's best in this case.
Okay, I'm sorry, yes, please go.
Gee, I thought maybe you'd skip me. No, am I on? Okay. But as you heard from other candidates, to provide public transportation in a rural community is costly, and the ridership is going to be limited. So we have to find some other way. My horse and buggy Mennonite friends do a fine job of getting to wherever they want to go. They have individuals who drive them, take them, haul their things for them. In the treatment court programs, we provide bicycles, and we send those folks that don't have driver's license to their jobs and to their meetings on bicycles. And when I come to work in the morning, even in the dark and in the rain and in the snow, I see bicycles moving on Route 192 and Route 45 all the time. So to think that we need to set up a fixed route busing system for rural Union County is not something that I'd be willing to support.
May I have a rebuttal?
Actually, yes, you may.
I just want to follow up on Jeff's comment about private solutions. In the 21st century, on one end of the spectrum, we've got zip cars, and we've got other private companies that provide transportation for people who don't have their own vehicles. On the other end, a patient told me recently, mom was sick, somebody was in from out of town, driving their Tesla. There's no place in Union County to charge your Tesla. And these are things that obviously local government isn't going to provide, but they can facilitate. And if we can help facilitate zip cars on one end and recharging your Tesla on the other, I think that would be a fine, forward-looking thing to do.
Do we have any other rebuttals, or the other three?
No, I don't think so.
No? No? Okay. We have an unusual situation here that has just developed. We're running out of questions. So I have one more question to ask. So please, hands up, get a card, put a question in. But we need questions. All right, let me go to that last question. And if you'll listen, you noticed all of a sudden I'm talking really slow and slowly and hoping that somebody writes a question. So let's try question 3. And